The crisis in the health sector has continued to bite with no end in sight. Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha has today pleaded with striking doctors to go back to negotiating tables, saying the government is ready to address some of their demands. This came on a day that talks between the government and the Clinical Officers Union collapsed, prolonging the ongoing strike by clinicians. The talks that were initiated by both the county and national governments were aimed at resolving the strike, but both sides failed to agree. The clinical officers have criticized the Council of Governors for failing to show up during the negotiations. Innocent Ogaro with the details.
The Clinical Officers Union released a statement condemning the county bosses for the collapse of the talks. The negotiations were meant to bring together the Council of Governors, the Ministry of Health, and the Clinical Officers Union. Prior to the meeting, the union had decried what they described as injustices against their members in various counties.
Let me confirm that we are still on strike. Today we are doing day 5 of strike, but there are issues of concern that we would like to address today. One of them being the victimization of our members, especially under the counties, irrespective of the fact that we have gone on a protected strike, owing to the fact that all the requirements under the Labor Relations Act have been ticked.
They also criticized statements made by the Acting Director of Public Health, Dr. Patrick Amoth, alleging an increase in the number of clinical officers without corresponding employment absorption.
They must stop misleading Kenyan and misleading clinical officers that we have had agreement. A case point is yesterday, where the county government of Trans Nzoia just circulated letters in social media informing the public that we have had discussion and that we have engaged and we have agreed and that we have signed a return to work with them.
The union is now urging graduate interns to disregard the Ministry of Health's call to submit their applications for internship, stating that they have not reached an agreement with the government. Meanwhile, the doctors' strike continues.
I'm calling upon the doctors to come on the negotiating table so that we finish. Because in all this, we must find a solution. We may disagree, but disagree to agree eventually so that we ensure that Kenyans get service.
Religious and political leaders from the Rift Valley call for a resolution to the crisis.
Let them sit down and talk. We are all Kenyans. So if there are very serious grievances on the part of the doctors, so let the government listen and let the government do what it can so that we are able to end this strike, because eventually the people are going to suffer are the ordinary people.
As the crisis deepens, patients across the country who depend on public health facilities have been left at crossroads. Innocent Ogaro, KTN News.
Thank you, Innocent, for that report. Now, the government